the question literally no one's asking: how quick is Herbie? That's right, everyone's favourite sentient VW has got me thinking, how fast actually is he, and what racing series does he take place in? In the Love Bug, Herbie races around Laguna Seca, Willosprings and Riverside against much faster cars. With a little research, and many thanks to RacingSportsCars.com, in the year 1968 when the film was set, Herbie is most likely running in the SCCA National Regional Mixed Races. But what would Herbie need to be running to be competitive? One of the cars in the film was powered by a Porsche 356 engine producing about 150 horsepower.
You don't have... I demand that this thing is impounded and checked, I tell you there's more going on here than meets the eye.
Well, here we are for another mini-series of working out how quick Herbie actually is in the film The Love Bug. This is the first of 4 parts, taking place here at Riverside, which is a legendary circuit. Absolutely love it. Where this is as close as a replica for a SCCA Regional race meeting, which will be a mixed class. As you can see, all the cars up ahead, a real eclectic mix of cars. Back in the day, it would have been British sports cars were particularly popular. You had your Austins, your Sprites, your Lotuses, MGs, ACs, and then obviously your American muscle, Dodges, Chevys, Mustangs, Corvettes, Stingrays, you name it. Obviously the Cobras as well, and then some more exotic cars like the Maserati 450, I think, and the Ferrari 250. Were still raced at this time period, and of course Herbie was as well, which was going for a move down start finish straight on the MG, whereas certainly this VW Beetle isn't the quickest car down in a straight line. It certainly is quicker than what it should be. As I said in the intro, one of the Herbie cars used for the films, I think there were about 6 of them that they used. One of them, for the racing sequences, had a Porsche 356 engine in it, which was producing about 150 horsepower, and it had upgraded brakes and suspension. However, against the likes of these big muscle cars, 150 horsepower doesn't quite cut it. So actually, Herbie, from a competitive point of view, has been upgraded to a 2.6 litre Porsche engine, which I think there are 2 of them taking part in this race, which now has bumped Herbie up to about 250 horsepower. So 100 more over the original, but it gives us more of a fighting chance because we've done our usual starting from the pit lane as Herbie would have done in the films, as he always seems to turn up late for the important ones, always a last minute thing, and has to do a last to first scenario. So we'll try and do the best we can, and of course Peter Thorndike in his Jaguar E-Type is also taking part in this. I do believe he qualified on pole, so we'll see how far up the field we can get. There are actually quite a few cars, and like I said, we're not the fastest on the straight. We are pretty handy in the corners. However, Riverside, it turns out, has quite a large straight, which we've got now, which does actually feature quite heavily in the film. There's a whole sequence of racing at Riverside, but certainly in one of the montages it does show Laguna Seca is also featured heavily, as well as Willosprings and another track that slips my mind. Paramount Ranch, that's the one. If that's try and Google it as I drive. But yeah, so there'll be the 4 races I'll do as a little mini-series, and see if we can defeat our racing rival, Peter Thorndike. Now, there wasn't a Thorndike special, which was an Apollo something, an Italian-designed sports car. But he did drive a couple of E-Type Jags, so that's what we're using for his little series. Yeah, I'd certainly like to do some more SCCA races. Was it Sports Car Club of America? Just because it's such a sort of like raw racing, if that makes sense. It's just yeah, like I said, a real eclectic mix of cars, and on such legendary circuits. Certainly I like to race on Riverside a lot more, and actually learn a bit more about its history. Probably should have done that before this video, but there we go. Yes, mostly this research has been done. Yeah, just trying to work out where the Love Bug took place, and as it was filmed in 1968, and with the variety of cars available, the SCCA did often do a mixed class race. Sometimes they would separate them, they would all have the individual races, but some of the time on certainly bigger tracks like Daytona, obviously you just race them all at once. And who doesn't love a bit multi-class racing? Let's be honest. So yeah, I'd absolutely love to do some more, explore some more SCCA. As you try and get moved on this, I think there's a Mercury Cougar and a Lotus. Obviously, both have their strengths and weaknesses on different parts of the track. As we get dive bombed by a Stingray, but he's much faster down the straight, so we'll see if we can. Ooh, nearly been sent off there by the Stingray. Though we're not going to be able to do much at this point, as we've got a Cobra trying to go around the outside of us as well. I thought I would be sort of flying through the pack a little bit quicker than this, actually. I'm not sure how far up I'm actually going to get. You can see we're in the slipstream of the Stingray, but he's just pulling away with that Chevy power. And say if we were 100 horsepower down, I think we would definitely struggle. So I guess we've already answered that question. Is obviously it's a little bit of cinema magic that Herbie obviously isn't going to be flying past when he chooses to all these other competitors. But he wasn't far off the horsepower target to be able to at least be competitive. I mean, he would have been in one of the lower classes. I haven't really researched what the classes were, as we get all out of shape and managed to hold it. Nice 180, as Herbie would have done. We've got a lot of ground to build up again. Come on, Herb. Right. Let's try and put some decent lap times in. It's only a 10 lap race. You see the cars are already going back in the opposite direction, and quite a few of them as well. I don't think we'd have lapped anyone yet. Everyone's pretty similar speed, but that corner is very deceptive. You think you can go into it pretty fast because it's an uphill. As you brake into it, thinking you get a bit more brake power, but you don't. As you go over the crest and you come back down, you then lose all that benefit of going against gravity, and now it's going with you. It's very easy to make a mistake, and especially on this corner as well. Let's say you want to fly into it, hammer on the brakes, but the back end will want to step out, and I need at least the best run I can get down this straight and all the toe in the well just to try and stick with them. And I have geared this car out as far as it will allow me, and it's still short, although he seems to have had some sort of a problem, so we'll take that. And then this banked corner, I think it's just called South, I'll say South Bank, just the South End, I think. And there are not many named corners as far as I can work out on this track. You have the South End bank, and then you have the S's coming up after the start. Finish straight, which is not really a straight. But yeah, such a fast flowing circuit. And in the film they did use the full circuit, they didn't use the shortcutted, I think it's NASCAR circuit and whatever the other one's called. But because of our nimbleness, we can pretty much do that flat out with a couple of lifts, and we can catch right back up. That's where I'm making all my time, is through the S's. Otherwise all this bit is just sort of point and shoot down a straight. And as long as I get these tricky corners right, I think we should do okay. As the car just goes light, the back end just wants to step out. But I'll try and... I feel like we've been fighting this Lotus for ages. I guess we have. But yeah, in the film I say they did feature quite a few cars. You had the Ferrari 250, you had one called the Devon D, which was they did like a fiberglass body. Obviously you got Austin Healey's in there, the Apollo 3 500 GT, which was the Thorndyke special. You had a couple of Cobras, Spitfires. It's the Jaguar XKE, which I don't think I've got. I think I've just got the E-Type. So it might be a little bit faster than what it's supposed to, as we use all the banking and carry all the speed. Yeah, got quite a big gap up ahead, but that's good though, especially for this part of the circuit, because we can make up a lot of time here. But yeah, a lot of C2 Corvettes, C1 Corvettes. There was a Lamborghini 400, which I haven't added into this, but I didn't see it on the SCCA entry lists. If you go to racingsportscars.com, I could spend hours on that site, because it is just full of all the information for all the races you could ever think of. And if they have pictures for them, they put them up. If they have like a racing program, they'll put it up, as well as original entry lists and stuff. I love diving into that and seeing what cars raced and what drivers. Yeah, as far back as you could possibly think, they'll probably have it. I think it's just based on donations. So let's say I've donated because I use it a lot, especially for all these races that I do. I do need to do a bit of research. I like to get it as accurately as possible if I can. So yeah, so they've obviously put a lot of work into their website. But yeah, if you need any information, racingsportscars.com. I'll leave a link in the description, and just have a browse to see, go back to the 60s, 70s, whatever country, whatever race, click, there might be some names in there you recognise. defensive there, trying to block off that Chevy behind us. I'm going to try and keep as many positions as possible, especially at this late stage of the race. I think we've only got a couple of laps left. And there's a nice gaggle of cars up ahead, so hopefully I can capitalise on that, as he does dive down the inside there. He's obviously a lot quicker on the straight. I don't know how I'm going to be able to defend against this. I'm just going to have to put my foot through the floor, as I'm pretty sure he's just going to go round the outside and tuck into the slipstream, try and get as much as possible. I think some of the cars do brake on this little kink, which he hasn't, but that's fine. We'll out-brake him into the banked corner, south end of the circuit. Keep it nice and tight on that white line. And I like to pinch a little bit of dirt, because that just hugs me in a bit and that stops me hitting the outside wall. And I think we're on to our last lap here, where it's all got incredibly messy. We should be able to make up a load of places. They are the two Porsches that share my engine. As we go off a little bit, but I mean, there wasn't really anywhere to go. Right, we need to pick up a load of places here. I still haven't seen the Thorndike car, so he must be well gone. I say this is where all the American muscle is, at the sharp end of the field on a circuit with this many straights. We're all fighting, jostling for position here. Let's see if I can keep it wide and keep some momentum around the Mustang, past the lap to Lotus 11. Try and keep the Mustang behind us as we get it all out of shape, but manage to gather it up. Again, just try and get as best of a run out there. Corner onto the back straight, as it were. That Mustang's just going to go right round the outside. Wow, off he goes. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad I've got the extra 100 horsepower, because I would be nowhere. I'll be with that Lotus 11 being lapped. Alright, I do believe I'm coming up to my final lap, so I need to make everything count. As I went for the get down the inside there, but it just wasn't quite. Closed the door on me, but we're going to get him in this time, and we should at least claim a couple of positions through the S's and hopefully hold them off down the final straight. There we go. Keep it in fourth, and then we just lift him out again just to get the nose pointing in the right direction. I'm going to try and undercut. I'm going to squeeze him out. But we always carry a much more speed around that corner. But then we lose our advantage here, and it's now just the few corners I have left. I need to make the most of them. Well, we're going to be in a good position down the inside, but I think he's just going to be able to pull away, and yep, it's not going to matter. I need to be bold into this corner. Always be this bit of Tokyo drift there around the outside. How did I save that? I don't know. Is that going to be enough to keep us in position? I don't think it is. I think they're just all going to run around the outside of me. Ah, oh, what a move for it just to not quite be enough. But this is what the SCCA or even British touring cars back in the day, it's David versus Goliath. It's the small cars. I mean, Now try to go around the outside of him. We should be able to get a nice run off the corner. And there we have it. I think that's going to be it. And there we have it. Herbie could only manage 10th position. And that's an E-Type, but it isn't the Thorndike car, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, he got first place. Wow. Did not do well as well as I thought I would. But it just shows how quick Herbie would actually need to be. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Next week will be Paramount Ranch. So I hope you join me for that one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.